before I can start talking about the idea that I think is worth spreading, I would like you all to engage in this really simple and short experience with me. All right? So, what we're going to do is I request you all to close your eyes, get in a really comfortable position, close your eyes, and just breathe deeply. I want you to imagine a world very different from where you are currently. And to do that, you will have to stretch your imagination and let go of any inhibitions that you have. Imagine a Monday morning. You wake up, you get ready, and you're off to your daily routine. Since this is a world very different from your reality, as you walk out of your house, you don't take your car or your bike today. You just keep walking. As you're walking, you see that people on the road are looking at you in a very different manner, perhaps even disgusted. You ignore them and you just keep walking. You reach the closest signal next to your house and you wait over there. You wait for the lights to go red. And when they do, you walk to the first car, knock on the window, and ask for money. As the day goes by and the weather starts to wear you down, you start demanding money out of people. One thing leads to another, and by the end of the day, you decide to get back home with all that money. You reach home and you give that money to the eldest person in your house. All of that money which came from your hard work, your sweat, and sometimes even your tears, all of them. As you lay on the bed that night, you think about how different your life would have been if your parents, if your family just accepted you for who you were. And with that thought, you go to sleep. And you wake up the next morning only to do the same thing all over again. You can open your eyes now. And thank you so much for participating. What you felt and the despair that you probably felt right now is what 500,000 transgender population goes through in our country every single day. Can you believe that? 500,000 people. Hijra, Aravani, Koti, Tirunangai. There are different ways and different cultural groups of this community, but just two occupations for them, begging or sex work. And why is it that? When a 12-year-old transgender child comes out to their parents and does not find acceptance at home, what happens to that child? Who takes care of this child, and what is the future of this child in our country? My name is Neelam as Jain, and I'm here to talk about my journey of transgender inclusion and to share with you stories of trans people that have shook me to my core and led to the creation of my startup. The person you see right here is Senthil Kumar. When Senthil was about 6 years of age, he knew that he was very different from most other boys. He loved dressing up. He had friends who were mostly girls. He felt comfortable around them. And he would often wear his mom's makeup as well. As a 6-year-old child, we were okay to see our son or our daughter do that. But as Senthil started growing up, it became a problem. His relatives and his neighbors started questioning his parents. Unga paiyan yen ipdi irka? Why is your child like this? I think you should make him play cricket. Or how about you send him to karate classes or something? That will help him man up a bit. Senthil knew that he wanted to be in a safe space. And so what he started doing was identifying transgender people that he would meet on the streets, at the beach, on the train, and he started hanging out with them because that's where he felt he could be himself. Senthil identified himself as a transgender woman, but couldn't ever share that with his family. He would quite often go to the transgender person's home, dress up, wear a sari, and just completely proclaim his identity. But one day, Senthil got caught. And when he did, the first thing that his parents asked him to do was get married to a woman. Senthil could not see himself doing that. As a heterosexual transgender woman, Senthil saw that he would not just ruin his life, but also the other person's life. And so what Senthil did was find himself a guru and became a part of the ancient hierarchical system of the transgender community known as the Jamaat system. This is just a representation to make you understand what the hierarchy looks like. Senthil became one of the chelas, and he had a guru who would take care of his needs, his necessities, his protection, and in return for which he would have to make money every single day, or even perhaps every month. However, and make that money as an exchange for his identity. When Senthil entered this community, entered the Jamaat system, he was given a new name and a new identity. Senthil is now Rohita and could fully proclaim his identity of a woman and was using the pronoun she. However, as days went by, Senthil realized that this wasn't just, I would like to say Rohita. Rohita realized that to be a part of the system wasn't easy. It involved a lot of things. Abuse on a day-to-day basis, not just within the community, but even outside. Within the community, day in and out, to make that money was a constant thing that the community members have to do. HIV scares. As Rohita was involved in begging or sex work, this was prone to being HIV positive as well, and most of the clients wouldn't even have sex protection. Rape. If a transgender woman reported rape in our country, it would sound like a joke. So these cases were never even considered. And discrimination in every single aspect, whether it was education, housing, law, and employment. However, Rohita kept at it. She knew that she wanted a life where she would have done her completion of a surgery, also known as a sex reassignment surgery, to fully complete herself. And for that, she stayed in the Jamaat system. However, until the last year, she found a job for herself in an inclusive organization. And this is Rohita for you, currently working as a data entry specialist in a leading textile firm in South India. Rohita's life transformed financially from making about 60,000-70,000 a month from begging and sex work to about 12,000 in a data entry job. But she was a lot more happy. She was feeling fulfilled, and she could live a life that she always wanted to. And that's why she's been here in this job for the last year and a half. And more like Rohita, there's another person as well. Nishta. This happy, vibrant person that you see right now wasn't always this way. When Nishta was about 13 years old, her father had passed away. And that was the first time when she realized what she was getting into. Her relatives came to her and said, behave like a man at least now. Your father has passed away. You need to own up for the family. Nishta succumbed to it. And not knowing what to do, she lived a life that the relatives and the family members asked her to live. However, after a few years, while going through a training course, Nishta learned the importance of smile. She learned the power of smile. And that's when, for the first time, Nishta went back and looked at some of her old pictures to realize that she was not smiling at all. In the last 3 to 4 years of seeing her own pictures, she realized that she looked so depressed. And the only reason for that was feeling gender dysphoric. Gender dysphoria causes so much stress, so much depression, that one cannot even comprehend it for themselves. So Nishta decided to make a positive change in her life. And although it wasn't accepted by her own mother, she kept at it. There would be fights day in and out at home, but Nishta decided not to leave her family, not to leave her mother alone. For 12 years, she counseled her family, and this is where they are today. That's Nishta's mom and her brother. Nishta's mom is the biggest champion of the cause there is right now. She supports not just Nishta, but so many other transgender people's parents as well, and counsels them as well. Nishta's brother talks about gender identity. He talks about the usage of right pronouns and the respect we need to give to transgender people. And that's exactly what happens when families support their own transgender child. It truly transforms them. It helps a transgender person become a best version of themselves because this support is not easy to get. Actually, before that, just sharing this video of what some of the trans people that we've known had to say to their family members and a message to all of them.
வணக்கம், என் பேர் ஆனந்தி. என் பேர் மீரா,
விமலா,
சிட்டு.
என் பேர் வினிதா.
வணக்கம், என்னோட பேர் தனபாக்கியம். நான் சென்னையில் இருக்கேன். நான் ஸ்நேகிதின்னு ஒரு அமைப்பு வச்சுருக்கேன். அந்த அமைப்பில் பிரசிடெண்ட்டாக இருக்கேன். நான் முதல் திருநங்கையாக கோத்தியாக உணர்ந்தப்போ சின்ன அக்கா கிட்ட தான் சொன்னேன், இந்தமாரி எனக்கு ஒரு மாதிரி ஆகுதுன்னு.
வீட்டிலேருந்து நான் யானை கழுவேன், துணி துவைப்பேன், இதெல்லாம் பார்த்துட்டு
இந்த வேலையெல்லாம் யார் செய்கிறாங்கன்னு எங்கள் வீட்டில் கேட்குறப்போ நான் தாம்மா செஞ்சேன்னு ஒரு பெருமையாக சொல்கிறப்ப நீ ஏன் இந்த வேலை செய்வேன்னு நான் அடிப்பாங்க.
நான் 7வது படிச்சுன்னு எங்கள் ஸ்கூலில் எல்லாம் கிண்டல் பண்ணுவாங்க, என்ன இந்த பையன் பொம்பளை மாரி பண்ணுறான் கொள்றான்னு சொல்லி கிண்டல் பண்ணுவாங்க. அதுக்கு எனக்கு ஸ்கூலுக்கு போகிறது பிடிக்காது நின்றுட்டேன்.
ஏரியாலாம் ரொம்ப கேட்பாங்கன்னா உன் பையன் இப்படி இருக்கானே கேட்க மாட்டிங்களே. எங்கள் அண்ணன் தம்பிங்களாம் என் ஃப்ரெண்டுங்களாம் சொல்லும் போது எங்கள் அண்ணன்களாம் என்னை அடிப்பாங்க, எங்கள் அப்பாலாம் அடிப்பார், எங்கள் அம்மா அடிப்பாங்க.
என்னை அடித்தவொடனே நான் எனக்கு என்னான்னு தெரியலம்மா, இது எதுக்கு நான் பண்ணுறேன்னு எனக்கு புரியல.
யாருமே ஏற்றுக்கல, எங்கள் அண்ணன் ஏற்றுக்கல, எங்கள் அப்பா சித்தப்பாங்களாம் யாருமே ஏற்றுக்கல.
எங்கள் அப்பா என்ன பண்ணாருன்னா என்ன வெளியே வந்து சொன்னனால வெளியே இருக்க ஆம்பளை பசங்களை வச்சு அசிங்கப்படுத்துகிற மாதிரி பண்ணார். அவங்க ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸுங்களை வச்சு அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து எங்கள் வீட்டில் வந்து ஒரு மாதிரி ரொம்ப கேவலப்படுத்தினாங்க, அசிங்கப்படுத்தினாங்க. எங்கள் அக்கா கல்யாணம் ஆகாது அப்படிலாம் என்னென்னமோ சொல்லி
எங்கள் வீட்டில் யாருமே இருக்க விடல, நான் இந்தமாரி ஆகிறேன்ட்டு.
இல்லை நீ இங்கே இருக்கக்கூடாது, நீ எங்கன்னா போயிடு. ஸோ அப்படி இருக்கும்போது எனக்கு ஒன்றும் வழி தெரியல எங்கே போவோம்.
இங்கே இருந்தால் நம்ம இது மேலே திருநங்கையாக வாழ முடியாதுன்ட்டு ஒரு 13 வயசு இருக்கும், அப்போ பம்பாய்க்கு போயிட்டேன்.
ஜாதி முறையில் வந்து என்னை ரொம்ப டார்ச்சர் பண்ணி நம்மளாம் அந்தமாரி கிடையாது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி என்னை ரொம்ப ரொம்ப டார்ச்சர் பண்ணாங்க.
எங்கள் அப்பா இல்லை இன்னும் ஆரம்பிச்சிடாது, உன் மனசில் தான் இருக்குது, நீ ஆம்பளை மாரி தான் இருக்கணும், இந்தமாரிலாம் ஆகக்கூடாது.
அப்பா அம்மா வீட்டில் இருக்கிற சந்தோஷத்தோட மூத்த திருநங்கை வீட்டில் போயிருக்கோம். எனக்கு அதுதான் பிடிச்சிருந்தது, நான் அவங்க கூட இருந்தேன்.
என்கிட்ட பேசாத கோபமாக இருந்தாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் என்னை பார்த்து ஒரு 4 பேர் போய் சொல்ல
இப்போ என்னை எல்லாரும் மாதிரியும் ஏற்றுக்குன்னு நான் அவங்கக்கிட்ட போகிறேன் வரேன்.
எங்கள் அப்பா லாஸ்ட்டாக ஒரே வார்த்தை சொன்னது, தம்பி பையலேருந்து என்னை கூப்பிடுவார். தம்பி பையலே நான் வந்து உன் வீட்டில் வந்துட்டு இருந்துட்டோம் அப்பான்னு என்னை கேட்டார். எனக்கு ரொம்ப ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருந்துச்சு.
எங்கள் சமுதாயத்தில் நான் நல்லா வந்ததுக்கப்புறம் எங்கள் சொந்த பந்தம்லாம் வந்து எங்கிட்ட பேசோ கொள்ளோ எங்கள் அப்பா அம்மா வீட்டில் ஏற்றுக்கினாங்க.
எல்லாம் எங்கள் அண்ணன் தம்பிங்களாம் கொஞ்சம் வந்து ரவுடிசம் பண்ணுவாங்க, அப்படியே பட்டவங்களே என்னை வந்து ஏற்றுக்குனாங்க.
எந்த குழந்தை பிறந்தாலும் தன்னோட குழந்தையாக தான் நினைக்கிறீங்க. அதேமாரி ஒரு திருநங்கை குழந்தை பிறந்தா அது உங்கள் குழந்தையா நினைங்க.
Thank you. So in the midst of all this, my journey began when I was 22 years old, working as a financial analyst in a corporate. And that's when I had the privilege of meeting Uma, a transgender woman. It was the first time that in a public space, in a cafe, I spent 3 hours talking to a transgender woman. And so many people around us were just staring at us. But it didn't matter. That 3-hour conversation with Uma completely changed my perspective about the community and also what I was going to do next. And so I badly wanted to help. I decided to propose a project to my company at that time. Why don't we hire transgender people? How about we provide training and employment opportunities to them? And as innocent as it was, it didn't get through. But it wasn't the end of it. I knew that there had to be something more that we need to do about it. It took me 6 months, and then I finally quit my job, came back to my hometown, Chennai, and started our periphery. Before I could have done that, it took me some time to understand the issues of the community and understand what was the grassroots level reality. The organization was set up with one fundamental vision, which was to create equal opportunities for the transgender community. Periphery itself came from the word, which meant that we wanted to ferry these people who were at the edge of the mainstream society and take them to where they wanted to be. One thing led to another, and before we would realize, we had already placed over 80 people across various jobs in the country. These are some of the stories that I would like to share with you. Bara Bobby, a BE gold medalist. No one would think that a BE graduate cannot get a job unless they're a transgender woman. Bara had the toughest time finding a job for herself. Not that she wasn't skilled or not that she wasn't talented. It's just that she was a transgender woman. However, now she works in a leading theatre multiplex in South India as an experienced team project coordinator. This is Rose. Despite having exceptional communication and interpersonal skills, the only place where she got a job was within her own community organizations. And now she works as a senior HR executive in a leading startup in Bangalore. Adhyasa as content and marketing. Ramesh Kumar, who's a trans man. We know so much about the trans woman community, but very, very little about trans men. Ramesh Kumar is living a life that he always aspired to as a hairstylist in a salon. Sumangli Balakrishnan. Anusha, working in a multinational corporation right now. Anusha wanted this job not for herself, but for her family, and to prove it to her parents that she didn't want to just go for begging, that she could do something for herself as well. One thing led to another, and again, I realized that We weren't just helping these people find employment opportunities, we were helping them gain their own self-esteem back. And they were going back and inspiring more and more transgender men and women within their community and helping them get a life that is fully true of themselves. One example of an inclusion program that recently happened was again at a TEDx event, where you wouldn't believe, but 35 transgender volunteers were a part of this. Here's a glimpse of this.
ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி இந்த ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டியில் நாங்கள் வந்து ரொம்ப எங்களோட ஃப்ரீடமை நாங்கள் ஃபீல் பண்ணுறோம், ப்ளஸ் ஈக்குவாலிட்டி ஃபீல் பண்ணுறோம். ஸோ இங்கே நிறைய ஆடியன்ஸ் வராங்க, மேல் ஃபீமேல் வராங்க. ஸோ நாங்கள் ட்ரான்ஸ் ஒரு வாலண்டியர்ஸாக இருக்கோம். எங்களுக்கு எந்த ஒரு டிஃப்ரென்சியேஷன் கிடையாது, எந்த ஒரு பார்ஷியாலிட்டி கிடையாது. ஸோ எல்லாருக்கும் ஈக்குவாலிட்டி அப்படின்ற ஒன்று நாங்கள் ரொம்ப உணர்ந்தோம் இன்னைக்கு.
I'm just going to stop the video right here. So, thank you. Thanks again. 35 volunteers and every single person who attended that event, 1,500 attendees, everyone had a touch point with a transgender person. The most times that we've seen a transgender person is mostly at a signal and, in ways that we don't want to communicate. But here, everyone was seeing them do their registrations, everyone was seeing them handing over the goodie bags, guiding them what to do. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience. In a world where gender diversity is such a buzzword, you take any corporate and they talk about gender diversity, and we're still talking only about women. We're far, far away and not even looking at the transgender community. We're living in a world where we're willing to let go of our own children because we fear what shame that transgender child will bring to our family. We live in a world where we're not willing to call a transgender person our friend, our brother, our sister, or at the very least, even our own colleague. Is this what we've come down to? But I believe that there is a change that's possible, and I have a dream to erase this problem from the face of the world. To create a society where every person can just be truly themselves and have access to opportunities that are not limited by gender. I know that a dream so audacious can never come true alone, and it needs a lot more people and organizations to come together. So here's what we're going to do. At least the people here at TEDxCovelong today. Just 3 vows for ourselves. Number 1, the next time we see a transgender person on the street, we will extend a kind hello. If not, at the very least, just treat this person respectfully. Number 2, we will engage in positive conversations about the transgender community, openly and proudly, and stop any derogatory comments about them. And number 3, we will go out there. There have been organizations running for decades to support the organization, to support the cause. They need our support, and it can be in form of just volunteering, donations, employment, training, any opportunity that we can provide with all the time and resources that we have. And lastly, just remember that talent and equality, it sees no gender, and so shouldn't we. Finally, I want to leave you all with this quote by Minor Myers Jr., which says, "Go into the world and do well, but more importantly, go into the world and do good." Thank you so much.